Hello philatelic friends! It's currently January 2021 and I thought that for my first video of the new year I would just take some time to reflect on the stamps that were issued in 2020, maybe talk about some of my favorites. Now I focus mostly on US stamps, so that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video, but if you have any opinions on your favorite worldwide stamps, feel free to let me know in the comments. Let me know which ones I should check out that you think stand out really well, and I would love to hear about it. So to kind of reflect on the US stamps issued in 2020, I thought that the easiest way to do that would just be to go and look at the Lens Stamp News popularity poll. Now every year, Lens Stamp News runs a popularity poll. You can vote online, or if you're a subscriber to the magazine, you can mail in a card with your opinions. In 2019, the Transcontinental Railroad stamp was the most popular, and they're currently reaching out for opinions on the 2020 stamps. So let's open the website and start voting. So here is the Lens Stamp News website with the popularity poll, and I will post a link to this page in the description of the video. And the article gives a little brief, a description of each stamp that was issued, and here at the bottom you can see that there is a link to the poll. So let's just start voting. Alright, so we start with the commemoratives. These are the 2020 US commemoratives, and we need to vote for the best design, the worst design, the most important, and the least necessary. So when we look at the commemorative stamps, we've got American Gardens, Enjoy the Great Outdoors, Maine Statehood, Voices of the Harlem Renaissance, Arnold Palmer, Grin Eiffel, Mayflower in Plymouth Harbor, Women Vote, Bugs Bunny, Hip Hop, Ruth Asawa, Year of the Rat, Drug Free USA, and Innovations. Now, you can click on each one to see a bigger picture, but I have already looked through these, so I'm just going to go through and talk about my picks. Now, for this poll, Lens Stamp News treats each issue as its own entity rather than each individual stamp. So for issues like the Bugs Bunny issue, which is 10 stamps, I have a hard time coming up with my opinion on whether I consider these important or not. For example, I think that the Watts Opera Doc stamp is more important than most of these other selected Bugs Bunny stamps because Watts Opera Doc was selected by the Library of Congress to be one of the first animated shorts selected for the National Film Registry for preservation. And I think that makes it very important. But I don't know if I would put it on the same level as, say, maybe the Space Jam bugs. While I do have a lot of fond nostalgia for Space Jam, it is a movie based entirely on shoe commercials, so not that important. There are also stamps like Mayflower in Plymouth Harbor, which, while I know that this is very historically important for the United States, I'm just not that interested in it. It's probably more important than I give it credit for, but since this is just my personal opinion, I'm not going to vote for it for most important. The American Garden stamps are beautiful, and I love the idea of highlighting not just flowers but landscape design and these important places in the United States. Enjoy the Great Outdoors is the one that's going to get my vote for the best design. I love the artwork on these stamps, the use of color, these little pops that come out in the red on the bike helmet or the yellow jacket in the blue tinted snow. I think these are beautiful stamps and I just love their designs. But I have to give some extra credit to the Year of the Rat stamp. I really enjoy this style, and I'm so happy that this is going to be the style for the New Year stamps coming into the future for the next cycle of Lunar New Year. The Year of the Ox stamp is going to be released soon, and it looks stunning. I know that some people complained about the Ruth Asawa stamps, saying that they didn't need to be 10 of them. I actually really like these stamps, and one of the things that I talk about in my video on the Trans-Mississippi issue is that stamps have an important place not just as collectibles and postage and commemoratives of history, but as commemoratives of culture and as being a way to make culture accessible to people. In 2020, none of us were going to a museum to look at art, but we could all enjoy Ruth Asawa's work through these postage stamps. So, best design I am giving it to Enjoy the Great Outdoors. Worst design I am going to give to Drug Free USA, which I just think is kind of boring looking. I know that graphic design is something that, you know, it really takes more skill than you think to make something like this, but it is just not very exciting, and it is really reminiscent of other stamps. I think of the Star Ribbon stamp, which looks very similar to this, so I'm just not thinking of anything new here. Most important, I am going to give to the women vote, which might be a little biased. And then the least necessary, I am actually going to give to Drug Free USA. Alright, so next we move on to the definitives. And again, we're looking at best design, worst design, most important, and least necessary. So, what do we think about these? Actually, I liked most of the definitives that were issued this year. For the best design, oh, I like a lot of these. I think they're all very, very pretty. You know, I think I would actually give this one to the Grand Island Ice Caves. I just think it's a very beautiful design. I love the colors. I love how it is arranged in the stamp. I just think it's beautiful. It's something that I could see wanting to have just on your wall. But honorable mentions for this category, the fruits and vegetable stamps, beautiful. Love those. Again, just very painterly, very pretty artwork. I'm actually quite fond of these more abstract stamps, like the Made of Hearts and Let's Celebrate. And I especially like that this year they did a lot with foil on the stamps. Let's Celebrate had foil. The Thank You stamps had this gold foil, and the Innovation stamps had a holographic foil, and those just really added something to the design that made them pop. For the worst design, I am going to go with, and this is probably pretty obvious if you know me and my particular design taste, I'm going to go with the pre-sorted star. It's just not got a whole lot going for it compared to the others. I know that for these pre-sorted stamps, they want to keep it simple because they are a cheaper stamp, but that doesn't mean that they have to be so default. For example, the pre-sorted stamp, this one on my shirt, it has letters in bright rainbow colors. I love that. There are so many different red, white, and blue star stamps out there. There's nothing I get out of another one. most important of the definitives. Now this is hard because definitives by their nature aren't commemorating anything. They're not made to honor something important, so it's hard to tell you what of these stamps would be important. So when I think about most important, one of the things I think about is the most that will be used. So for example, well, hello Ryan. So for example, the Christmas stamps, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, the love stamp for Valentine's Day, thank you stamps, the garden corsage and boutonniere for weddings. These are stamps that have a practical mail purpose. They're going to be used by people, and I think that makes them more important. But for 2020, my choice is going to go to the Global Chrysanthemum stamp, because this year we haven't been able to travel. I wanted to go to London 2020. It was canceled. I have felt really cut off from the world. And I think that the international, the global rate is just a little more important in 2020. Yeah? For the least necessary, I'm going to give that to wild orchids. Now, it's not that I don't like flower stamps, because I actually love flower-themed stamps, but in a year that gave us American Gardens, that gave us Contemporary Boutonniere, that gave us fruits and vegetables, and the thank you stamps have floral elements, I just didn't think that we needed more flowers this year, especially orchids, which, while beautiful and, you know, they give us vanilla, which is A+, they don't really strike me as anything super important. So I am going to give my least necessary to the orchids. And again, when we think of use, we already have the garden corsage and the contemporary boutonniere as flowery stamps for weddings. We already have the thank you stamps for, you know, general greetings. We have the love stamp. We even have the Earth Day stamp as something natural. So with all of these other things, I just think that the wild orchids has the least to offer. So those are my picks. Now we have the postal stationery. Only 2 choices. I'm going to give the best design to the Big Bend and the worst design to the US flag. The most important to the Big Bend, and not just because I think it looks more interesting. I'm giving the most important to the Big Bend because it pays for the priority mail rate, which means that this stamp is printed on the priority mail envelopes, the big cardboard things that you send out. And I just think that that's a little more of an important use than the US flag envelope, which, you know, you could just take an envelope and put a stamp on it, and you have a lot of choices for stamps in the regular forever rate. So finally, last thing is our overall favorite issue of the year. Oh, this one is hard, because when I think of my favorite issue, I'm not thinking about necessarily the design or the importance. I am thinking about my personal favorite, what speaks to me and makes me happiest. And I think there are a lot of good choices this year. You know, of course, I've talked already about some of my favorite ones, but I'm actually going to give it to Celebrate. And the reason is because, one, I just really, really enjoy the look of it. It's colorful, it has that foil element, it is fun looking, and when quarantine started up and I couldn't go roller skating, I painted a roller skate cachet for it, and that kind of made me happy. In addition, this stamp was used when I got mail from a friend who announced the birth of their baby. congratulations. So, you know, it was something that brightened my year, and that's why it's my personal favorite. So I will click finish and finish the survey. Now, voting will continue until March 1st, 2021, and you can see the current leaders, but I'm not going to do that because by the time I post this video, they'll have changed. Okay, so that is my review of the US stamps issued in 2020, but you might remember that another stamp was issued in the US in 2020, and that is my local post stamp. In October, I ran a local post and I issued stamps for delivery by my local post, the piggyback post. You can go and watch my video on that. I'm really proud of this design. I kind of took inspiration from both classic local posts and more modern local posts to make them. And fun fact, my video on these is nominated for a Chatty Award, so I will put the link in the description of this video and you can go and maybe vote for it if you are interested. So, I'm excited to just get to talk more about stamps in 2021. Let me know if you have any ideas for videos that I can make, if you have any questions that you think I could answer for you or help you answer for yourself. And I make these videos when I have time, so please subscribe to my channel if you want to be notified when a new video comes out. And follow me on Twitter at Philatelythings for more stamp news and fun facts. And I will see you later. Keep enjoying stamp collecting.